Can I get a high score on my very own SwiftUI test? Let's find out today as I'm going to take the SwiftUI test that I'm sharing that you could take. And yeah, let's see how it goes. Now, what am I talking about here? If you go to Rebeloper.com, you will see that I have created a SwiftUI Mastery Test. And there's also this pop-up on my site where you can take it immediately. You see, you can find out your score on how high or low you are on a SwiftUI level. So I'm not going to take the pop-up right over here. I'm just going to click on this button right over here. And yeah, SwiftUI Mastery Test. Would you get a SwiftUI job that pays, oh, that's a really huge sum of money on average? Would you be able to build an app like Twitter in SwiftUI right now? And are you an irreplaceable developer, aka an expert? Let's find out. This is a completely free assessment tool. The emails I will use to touch back with you and discuss your score. So that's why I need those emails. And yeah, it takes roughly about 10 minutes on average. It depends on, of course, on your skill and how quickly you can answer these questions. And yeah, you will be given valuable feedback and actionable next steps you can take right away. That's why I need your email. Okay, so what is this SwiftUI Mastery Test? Well, I have created a set of questions that kind of test your SwiftUI knowledge. Now, today I'm going to go through them one by one and, discuss the questions if needed, because I have found that this actual test is a little bit too easy. So I'm going to go through this today and I'm also going to change it. So if you're interested, go ahead and check it out. I will leave the link in the description. And yeah, let's see how you are going to score. Of course, not at this test because I'm going to change it, make it a little bit harder. But make sure you leave your score down in the comments as well. And also reach out to me so we can discuss where you got wrong, and yeah, maybe we are going to celebrate where you got the answers right. Okay, so SwiftUI Mastery Test, what's this all about? Well, this is part of me testing you to apply to SwiftUI Camp. Now, before I start the test, let me talk a little bit about SwiftUI Camp. That's at rebeloper.com/SwiftUI Camp, or just go to the header button right over there on rebeloper.com. It's SwiftUI. I teach you how you can master SwiftUI in 4 weeks. Well, we are going to master SwiftUI in 4 weeks. 4 live Zoom group coachings, 2 hours each, recorded, and you can take questions now. And please take a look at the testimonials also. We're going to talk about data handling, navigation, basic views, and advanced views. And then you are going to become a master in SwiftUI. Now, the catch is that there are only 5 seats because I want to give extraordinary support, and also, yeah, I want to be hands-on with you guys. So you are going to join a waiting list. Now you can take the SwiftUI Mastery Test and then book a consultation with me to share with you the waiting list, or you can just also book a consultation right over here, and then I will decide if you are going to be eligible to join the waiting list. And on the waiting list only, I'm going to share when SwiftUI Camp is going to be launched. It is going to be launched soon, in about a few weeks. So yeah, go ahead and check it out, rebeloper.com/SwiftUI-camp. But today we came for SwiftUI Mastery Test. And by the way, at the end, you can ask me if you are going to connect about SwiftUI Camp. So SwiftUI Mastery Test, let's get started. Let's see, first name, let's just have Alex right over here. The Rebeloper at gmail.com. Okay, let's start the test. Now, in terms of your developer expertise, at what level do you categorize yourself? Well, okay, I'm not super pro. Let's just go with advanced. I would just say advanced. Okay, So what is SwiftUI's primary advantage over UIKit for iOS app development? And by the way, you can see that here you can see the progress that you are going through. So yeah, it roughly takes about 10 minutes. What is SwiftUI primary advantage over UIKit for iOS app development? Coming back to the question. It's a declarative UI framework. It's more performant. It has a simpler code structure. Now, I believe it has a simple code structure. And by the way, I keep in mind that I did these questions, so I made these questions up, but it was a few weeks ago, so I'm just doing this. I just forgot mostly about it. So it's more performant. Well, sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. It should be a little bit more performant, and it's a declarative UI framework. So I would just choose it's a declarative UI framework for now. Do you know the difference between a state and a binding? I believe I do. And basically, a state is declaring the source of truth, and the binding is creating a bidirectional data flow in our application. So let's click on next over here. Which keyword is used to declare a property as mutable and bindable in SwiftUI? So it has to be mutable and bindable in SwiftUI. Well, definitely not a let, that's a constant. Var, yeah, you might want to, if you are starting off with SwiftUI, you might say it's a var. Yeah, it's mutable. But actually, what we need in SwiftUI is an at state. So the property is at state. Can you build complex SwiftUI layouts? I believe I can do. Let's click on next here. This was an easy one. Which SwiftUI container view arranges its children in a horizontal line? Well, we have VStack, HStack, and the Z-stack. Vertical stack, horizontal stack, and Z-stack, depth stack. Okay, horizontal stack it is. To update the UI view in a variable's value, when a variable's value changes, which property wrapper should you use? So when you update the UI view, when a variable's value changes, which property wrapper should you use? A binding, a state, or an observed object? Well, definitely not the observed object. That's a class, so it holds the published variable property wrappers. State or binding? As I told you, binding is a bidirectional data flow thing. So let's just choose that state. Hopefully I just get that right. Again, I did this weeks ago, so it's kind of new for me. And yeah, honestly, I want to do this as if I were doing it on the first run, as you would be doing it. Are you using Combine in your projects? Well, actually, I'm not using Combine in my projects. I don't really need Combine in my projects. Rarely, in 3 out of 10 projects, kind of, I use once Combine. So yeah. Which view is used to display an image in SwiftUI? The image view, the image, and a picture view. Now, this was really confusing when I first started coming from UIKit into SwiftUI, because there we have the UI image view. And we kind of presumed that the view that is presenting an image would be image view, UI image view without the UI. Well, actually, it is the image, and yeah, not picture view. How can you create a toggle switch in SwiftUI? Okay, so this is coding. Toggle is on, and with that binded switch and toggle switch. Okay, now again, if you are coming from UI, this could be a little bit confusing, because there we have the UI switch. And actually, what we have is a toggle in SwiftUI. So A, I believe, is the correct answer there. How do you create a SwiftUI view that allows users to input text? Okay, so another coding question. Input text. Okay, so that would be not the text, because yeah, that's just going to display. So this is not correct. Editable text, I don't think there is anything like this, editable text. But I do know that we have a text field, so I believe C it is. What is the purpose of the spacer view in SwiftUI? To display an empty view, to add space between views, to create an any view. Well, definitely not to create an any view. Yeah, it's not making another view into an any view. To display an empty view, You might choose this one, but actually it's not the correct answer because it looks like an empty view, but it's actually a space. It just, yeah, it adds space between views. It's not empty. It might be empty space if you are coming from a designer background. Yeah, it adds empty space to your layout, but actually it's to add space between views. Do you know how to filter a Swift data query dynamically? Yes, I do. And please do check out the YouTube video on Swift data on on this particular topic too. What is a color considered in regards to layout? A pull-in view, a push-out view, a pixel view. Now, this might be strange to you, and let me explain what I mean by a pull-in view, push-out view, and a pixel view. And yeah, maybe you are not familiar with this, but if you are not, then layout must be a heck of really hard for you to do in SwiftUI. So a pull-in view is basically a view in SwiftUI that pulls every other view around itself, and it has its smallest bounds as it can be, and it's pulling everything around itself. The push-out view is the other way around. It's trying to stretch itself as much as it can, so it's taking up as much space as it can. A pixel view, on the other hand, is taking up as much pixel as its source. So I know that pixel view is, it's just the image without the resizable view modifier. It's every pixel that you see on the image, it's actually a pixel on the device too. If you are not using the resizable, of course you are going to use it, but that would be the pixel view. Now, the color, is it a pull-in view or a push-out view? Well, actually, it's a push-out view. It's trying to take up as much space as it can. So there we go, push-out view. I really like this analogy, pull-in view, pull-out view, and a pixel view. I teach this in SwiftUI Camp also, so go ahead and check it out, rebeloper.com/SwiftUI Camp if you have just dropped in. Now, what can a system image be considered in SwiftUI? An any view, a font, or a constrainable? I don't know about the constrainable. I didn't even heard about constrainable. Most probably I just made this up, I think. Is it an any view? No, definitely it's not an any view. It's a system image. It's of type system image, so it has a definite type. Now, we're left with the font. And why is that? And actually, this is the correct answer, I believe, because the system image behaves differently than the image that I was talking about previously. It's actually a font. So you can give it a size, width, weight, design. It's a font. Yeah, it's definitely a font. So let's choose that. Really good thing to know. When should you use the add binding property wrapper in SwiftUI? A, to indicate a property that should not be modified. Well, I don't think so. Yeah, the binding is just bidirectional data flow. To create a two-way binding between views. Yeah, this is a good candidate. And to observe changes to an external data source. Yeah, definitely go with B there. What is the primary purpose of the geometry reader view in SwiftUI? To display an image within a geometry box? Well, maybe if we are using an image inside the geometry reader. To create a custom geometry forms, or to measure and arrange its children based on its own size. Yeah, B or C, to create custom geometry forms. Actually, no, because those forms, yeah, it's not creating the custom geometry form, it's arranging its children based on its own size. Yes, so C it is, I believe, hopefully. Let's see if I can go to 100. I would just blow my mind if I get everything correct right over here. Do you know how to align an overlay to top? Overlay on top, yes. So it's the dot overlay with the alignment. Okay, so yes to that. What is the primary difference between a state, a binding, and observed object in SwiftUI? So they are all used for the same purpose, observing data. Yeah. Well, not really. The observed object is not just for observing data. The published variable inside the observed object. So I rule out A. A state is for mutable state within a view. Binding is for two-way data binding, and observed object is for observing external data sources. Okay, looks pretty solid. Now I will see. A state is for class properties. Binding is for struct properties, and observed object is for enums. Yeah, definitely it's not the case. So B. By the way, go ahead and check this out. Uh, I'm going to make this even harder. So once you go to the SwiftUI Mastery Test, you will see different questions, uh, presumably harder questions, because uh, everybody who just went through this got really, really high scores. So I'm going to make this a little bit harder. So don't be, don't make the mistake that, oh, I'm going to do this right now and you are going to just follow along the tutorial. No, I'm going to change the questions. Go ahead and check it out. So how can you integrate a SwiftUI view into a UIKit based iOS app? So SwiftUI view into a UIKit based app. You can't integrate SwiftUI view. Definitely you can. So B, by using UI hosting controller to wrap the SwiftUI view, by using UI view controller representable to wrap the SwiftUI view. Now, it's one of those. So I believe it's by using UI hosting controller, because when we are using the UI view controller representable, we are accessing actually UI view controllers. So I believe B it is, yes. Do you know the difference between an observable and an observable object? Yes, I do. This is in iOS 17. We got observable, and yeah, definitely I covered that in SwiftUI Camp. After you finish the test, you will be able to connect with me, and then we can talk about SwiftUI Camp if you choose to. Yeah, if it makes sense to join. What is the state object property wrapper used for in SwiftUI, and how does it differ from observed object? Yeah, good question. State object is used for class properties, while observed object is used for structs. No, I think that's not the case. State object is used for properties that should not change, while observed object is for mutable properties. Well, state object is used for properties that should change. So maybe we are left with C. State object is used for creating new instances for an observable object. Yes, that's, we're creating new ones, the source of truth. While observed object is used to observing external data sources. That's correct. So I believe C it is. By the way, I might be wrong on this. I would definitely be amused if I just get one of my pre-created questions wrong. Okay, how do you create a segmented control in SwiftUI to switch between different views or states? Using the segmented control view, a picker view, or a tab view. Again, this might be confusing for UIKit developers. We have UI segmented control. It's not named that way. It's the picker. So also in UIKit, we have the UI picker view controller, or that's a picker. But with SwiftUI, we have a picker that's actually kind of looks like the UI view controller, picker view controller. But if we set the style to be segmented, then we get what we have in UIKit as a UI segmented control. So definitely not tab view. So picker. How do you navigate with a transition to another view in SwiftUI? Using a navigation link view, using the link view, using the segue view. Well, actually we do have a link view, but that's going to your preferably set browser on your device. So, Safari or whatever. Segue view, I don't think we have anything like that in SwiftUI. So yes, it is the navigation link view. What is the purpose of the picker view in SwiftUI, and how can you use it to create selection controls? Oh, I think I just said that earlier. Picker is used to create a horizontal scrolling list of items. Not really, because it might be scrolling if you use the style of wheel picker, but I believe that's the scroll view. So also picker is used to create a vertical list of items from which the user can make a selection. No, not vertical. Picker is used to create a circular list of items. Circular list? No, not circular list. So let's see, which one is it? Picker is used to create a vertical Yes, I believe it is a vertical. Yes. Let's choose this one. Fingers crossed. Can you build a custom view modifier? Yeah, definitely I can. I will also show this in SwiftUI Camp. How do you create a custom SwiftUI view that conforms to the view protocol? And what are some common use cases for creating custom views? Oh, the questions are getting longer and harder. So, custom SwiftUI view. By defining a struct that conforms to the view protocol and custom views, yes, and what they are used for, custom views are useful for encapsulating reusable UI components or complex view hierarchies. Well, this might be the one. Let's see at BNC. By using the view builder property wrapper, and custom views are primarily used for creating animations. No, they are not used for animations, creating animations. By using the custom view modifier, and custom views are mainly used for handling data models. Well, definitely not B and C, and I believe it is A, so let's check that. Oh, we are getting close to the end. How do you create a SwiftUI view that dynamically generates a list of items based on an array of data? And what view components facilitates this? Okay, so dynamically generates a list of items based on an array. By using a list view with a predefined set of items, by using a for each view and iterating over the array of data to create dynamic content, by using a VStack view with manual layout adjustments. Well, definitely not C, I believe. So, with a predefined set of items, yeah, that generates a list of items based on array. Well, it doesn't say that it has to be scrollable, it just has to be a list, so a list of items. Therefore, I believe it's B, because by using for each view and iterating over the array of data to create dynamic content, I believe that's dynamically generates. I believe it's B. So I set B there, the for each, not the list actually, because on the list answer we had static values, and that's not what the question was about. When and why might you use the preference key protocol in SwiftUI, and how does it help to coordinate data flow between views? Oh, preference keys. Yeah, I really like preference keys because SwiftUI is like from parent to child, and preference keys make it easy to communicate from child to parent. So let's see the proposed answers here. Preference key is used to creating navigation flows. Yeah, and I'm just going to stop over here. It's not like that. Preference key, and so B. Preference key is used for creating custom view modifiers and primary effects view styling. No. So I believe we are left with C. Let's see. Preference key is used for collecting layout information from child views and communicating it to their parent. Yes, definitely this one. How can you implement a custom interactive gesture in SwiftUI, such as a draggable card? Okay, by using the gesture modifier with a custom gesture. B, by using predefined gestures like tap and long press. Well, tap and long press are not about dragging. By using the gesture property wrapper. Well, the gesture property wrapper is just going to set up a variable of a gesture for us, but we still need to use the modifier. So I believe it's A. Do you know how many styles the list has? Well, actually I do, and I will say yes over here. I think it has 4. Now, please bash me in the comments if there is 5. There are 5, so I say it's 4. What is SwiftUI's data-driven approach, and how does it enable advanced dynamic content generation, such as populating a list with data fetched from a web API? Okay, so A, SwiftUI's data-driven approach is primarily used for animations related to loading the fetched data into the list. Not really. SwiftUI's data-driven approach involves generating views based on dynamic data sources, allowing advanced content generation by binding views to data fetched from a web API. This might be the answer. C, SwiftUI's data-driven approach is used to creating custom transitions and does not relate to loading data fetched from a web API. I believe it's B. So yeah, I talk a lot about the first lesson in SwiftUI about this in depth. What is the purpose of the environment object property wrapper in SwiftUI? Well, environment object, love it and hate it. Let's see. Environment object is used for managing environment variables. Well, yeah, but yeah, that's kind of universal. You know, it's simple to put it simply. Environment object allows you to share data and state across multiple views and view hierarchies by injecting a shared data model or object into the environment. Yeah, this is much more comprehensive. I believe this will be it. Or C, environment object is primarily used for creating custom animations. Well, definitely not. So yeah, and I forgot the right over here, so most probably that's not it. Again, I'm going to change all of these questions so they will be harder for you. And by the way, once you go through it, just please share your score because I really, really would be interested. And yeah, hopefully others will be too. When optimizing advanced SwiftUI apps for performance, which technique is used to reduce memory usage and improve rendering efficiency by reusing views? Lazy loading, view recycling, deferred rendering. Well, I don't believe we are using view recycling. That's something for UI collection view controller and UI table view controller. And maybe when list was on top of UI table view controller, we might say this. Deferred rendering, definitely not. I believe we are using when we want to reduce memory usage, we should use lazy loading with the lazy VStack, lazy ZStack, and all of that. So I would choose lazy loading. Do you know how to animate an SF symbol? Yes, I do. I actually I have a whole event on my community. So yes, on that. In advanced SwiftUI app architecture, which architecture pattern is commonly used to manage complex data flows and dependencies? Oh, the good old questions. Yes. So MVVM, Viper, or MVP? Well, definitely not Viper. It makes our lives much too complicated. Model view presenter. Well, we could argue model view and the presenter, but it's a little bit more than that. We might have API calls, might have services. Yeah. By the way, check out my YouTube video on this, like no MVVM, why you should use MVC, like not model view controller, but model view controller. But if I had to choose from these three, I would just go with the MVVM, model view and view model. By the way, on that, oh, just to finish my thought, on that video, I talk about the disadvantages of MVVM. So my score is 100 by 100. That's amazing. So yeah, I'm not going to go read this. If you want to, you can just pause and read what you are going to get when you are going to get this high score or near 100. Yeah, I believe that these questions are quite easily solvable. So yes, I'm going to write a new set of questions. Go ahead and check them out later. So I had other issues with the continue button right over here. It's not redirecting to the right page. So I'm just going to click right over here for now. Maybe this already has been removed if we have that figured out and we just fix it. And yeah, if you, once you get to this page, you might want to book a call with me where we can discuss your answers. At the end of the session, we can just, implement, well, I would suggest what you can do. And make sure that you do not abuse this. You must be taking the SwiftUI Mastery Test. I will come prepared. I will read your answers beforehand. By the way, this is free, just so you know. Okay, so just out of curiosity, let me just see if the continue button works at the moment. Yes, it does. Yeah, so I just have to remove it. It was just going to the generic thank you page that, it wasn't what I intended to do. Okay, so yeah, make sure to check it out. You can just go to rebeloper.com and just find out your score, or just go through the pop-up card right over here. Also, uh, you do need to go through the SwiftUI Mastery Test if you want to join SwiftUI Camp. It's at rebeloper.com/SwiftUI-camp. And also, if you are pretty sure that you are eligible, for learning SwiftUI in 4 weeks, then just simply book a consultation. You might skip the test, but I would highly recommend that, because then I get a better idea at what your SwiftUI level is. Take a look at the testimonials right over here. Let me just go through. Yeah, SwiftUI Camp, it's going to be launched on the waiting list only. So yeah, it's not like you are going to be able to purchase it. Here are the testimonials, by the way, from previous SwiftUI camps. Yeah, and yeah, looking forward to all of your scores. Share them on social media. Share this test if you liked it, and yeah, hopefully I will see some of you in SwiftUI.